Have you ever eaten a fruit at night, only to wake up the next morning with slurred speech or numbness in your arm? As a brain doctor, I never imagined that something as innocent as fruit, yes, fruit, could be the hidden trigger behind so many overnight strokes in seniors. I've seen elderly patients, strong, independent people, suddenly lose their ability to walk or speak, not because of genetics or age, but because of a fruit they trusted. And the worst part? They had no warning, no pain, no symptoms, until it was too late. But here's the good news. Stroke is not random. It's preventable. And when you know which fruits to avoid and why, you take back control over your brain, your body, and your future. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth behind 9 everyday fruits that may be silently harming your brain, especially if you're over 60. We'll talk about how they spike your blood pressure, mess with your medication, and even dehydrate your brain tissue while you sleep. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to guide you. As a neurologist who's helped thousands of seniors protect their brain, I created this channel to bring the truth to light. Without the medical jargon, simple advice, real science, and tips that can literally save lives. So let's begin with the first fruit you absolutely need to watch out for, especially if you're eating it after dinner. 1. Bananas. Too much potassium too fast. Let's start gently with a fruit that seems harmless, even comforting, the banana. It's soft, convenient, and packed with potassium. For years, doctors praised it as a heart-friendly snack. But here's what most seniors don't realize. As we age, our kidneys become less efficient at filtering out extra minerals, especially potassium. And if you're also taking medications for high blood pressure, like ACE inhibitors or water pills, your body may be holding on to even more potassium than it should. Now here's where it gets dangerous. A single large banana contains around 450 milligrams of potassium. For someone with weakened kidney function, that can push potassium levels too high, too fast. When that happens, it can disrupt your heart's rhythm, tighten your blood vessels, and even trigger clot formation in the brain. One of my patients, Mr. Raymond, was a healthy 66-year-old man who believed he was doing everything right. He walked every morning, took his medications, and ate 1 banana every night before bed. What he didn't know was that his medications were already raising his potassium levels. One night, it became too much. He suffered a minor stroke in his sleep. No warning, no pain. Just a numb face and slurred words the next morning. That's when we connected the dots. It wasn't just the banana, but the timing and combination with his medications that put him at risk. So, here's my advice. If you love bananas, you don't have to give them up. But limit yourself to half a banana in the morning. And pair it with protein, like Greek yogurt or a handful of almonds, to slow the sugar and potassium absorption. And most importantly, never eat it before bed, when your metabolism slows and potassium tends to accumulate. If you're on heart or kidney medications, please speak with your doctor before making bananas a daily habit. It might seem small, but for your brain, it could be life-changing. Now let's talk about another surprising fruit that seems refreshing but may quietly thicken your blood and raise your stroke risk without you even realizing it. 2. Grapes. Sugar bomb in a tiny package. Next, let's talk about a fruit that looks so innocent. Tiny, juicy, and bite-sized, but hides a dangerous secret. Grapes. They're often seen as the perfect quick snack. No peeling, no mess, just grab a handful and go. But for seniors, especially those managing blood sugar or blood pressure, grapes can quietly become a serious threat. Why? Because grapes are loaded with natural sugars, glucose and fructose, in a very compact package. This combination causes a fast spike in blood sugar, which forces your blood vessels to stretch and contract rapidly. For aging arteries that are already under pressure, this sudden demand can create small, invisible tears. Over time, those tears become inflamed, and your body tries to heal them, often by forming clots, and that's where the stroke risk begins. Let me share a story. Mrs. Jeanette Morris, an 80-year-old retired teacher, loved grapes. She kept a bowl on her kitchen counter and snacked on them all day. She had no history of diabetes, but her blood sugar slowly crept up to pre-diabetic levels. One afternoon, she felt dizzy, couldn't find her words, and her hand went numb. It was a mini stroke. The cause? A combination of rising blood sugar and inflamed vessels, fueled in part by her daily grape habit. This doesn't mean you need to fear grapes completely, but moderation is key. If you enjoy grapes, stick to a small handful, about 10 to 12 pieces, and always pair them with a source of protein like almonds or a small slice of cheese. This slows down the sugar rush and gives your blood vessels a break. Never eat them on an empty stomach, and avoid late-night snacking when your insulin sensitivity is low. And if you're diabetic or taking medications for blood pressure or the heart, talk to your doctor before making grapes part of your daily routine. The smallest fruit can sometimes carry the biggest risks. Coming up next, a tropical favorite that many believe is heart-healthy, but it may actually thicken your blood and silently raise your risk of brain clots. 3. Pineapple, acid and sugar combo. Now, let's turn to a fruit that feels like sunshine on your tongue. Pineapple. Its juicy tropical sweetness makes it a favorite after-dinner treat for many seniors. But what most people don't realize is that this fruit's unique combination of high sugar, acidity, and enzymes can quietly turn it into a triple threat to your brain. Here's how: 1 cup of pineapple contains around 16 grams of sugar, which can spike your blood sugar faster than your body can handle, especially in the evening when metabolism slows. But the real concern lies in an enzyme called bromelain, naturally found in pineapple. While bromelain has some anti-lectin benefits, it can also interfere with your blood's ability to clot, especially if you're on medications like aspirin or warfarin. That means you could bleed longer or develop microclots in the wrong places, like your brain. And it doesn't stop there. Pineapple is highly acidic, which can silently trigger acid reflux in seniors, especially when eaten at night. This reflux often goes unnoticed, but it can reduce oxygen supply to the brain while you sleep, quietly increasing your risk of nighttime stroke. Mrs. Clara Hughes, 77, learned this the hard way. She enjoyed a small bowl of pineapple each night before bed, believing it was a healthy dessert. Over time, her acid reflux worsened, her blood sugar spiked, and the interaction with her blood-thinning medication created the perfect storm. One night, she didn't wake up feeling normal. She was disoriented, weak, and had suffered a mild stroke. My recommendation? If you love pineapple, keep your portions small, just a few chunks, and eat it earlier in the day, preferably with a balanced meal. Avoid it completely if you're on blood thinners, and never eat it right before bedtime. Up next, we'll talk about a fruit that's often marketed as refreshing and hydrating, but can silently dehydrate your brain and thicken your blood without warning. 4. Watermelon, not always hydrating. Watermelon feels like the perfect summer snack, juicy, refreshing, and hydrating. But for seniors, especially those with heart issues or on water pills, this beloved fruit can have surprising consequences. Here's why. Watermelon has a natural diuretic effect, meaning it makes you urinate more. That might not sound serious, but for older adults whose bodies are already sensitive to fluid loss, this can quickly lead to dehydration. And when your body loses too much water, your blood becomes thicker. Thick blood moves slowly, increasing the chance of clot formation, especially during the night when circulation naturally slows. Mr. Howard Larkin, age 82, was a retired postman who prided himself on healthy eating. Every evening, he'd enjoy a big bowl of watermelon, but he was also on a diuretic for his blood pressure. Over time, this combination silently dried out his system. One morning, he woke up confused and weak. A trip to the ER confirmed it. He had suffered a mild stroke. The cause? Dehydration and thickened blood, brought on by the mix of watermelon and medication. Now, I'm not saying watermelon is bad for everyone. It can be enjoyed, but with care. If you love it, have it earlier in the day, in small portions, and always with electrolytes, like a pinch of salt or alongside foods containing magnesium or potassium. This helps your body retain the fluids it needs. And most importantly, talk to your doctor if you're on any medication that affects fluid levels. What seems hydrating can actually pull water out of your system, quietly increasing stroke risk. Coming up next is a fruit many call a superfood, but for aging brains, it may act like a double-edged sword, triggering inflammation when paired with common blood pressure meds. 5. Oranges. Citrus interactions. Let's talk about a fruit that most of us grew up believing was the picture of good health. Oranges. Whether it's a fresh orange at breakfast or a glass of orange juice in the morning, it feels natural and harmless. But for seniors on certain medications, oranges can quietly interfere with how your body handles those drugs, and the results can be dangerous. Here's what's happening inside your body. Oranges, especially their juice, contain compounds called furanocoumarins. These natural chemicals can block an important enzyme in your liver responsible for breaking down medications, like statins for cholesterol, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, and blood thinners like warfarin. When this enzyme is blocked, two things can happen. Your medication stays in your body longer than intended, or it doesn't work the way it should. Either situation can be dangerous. A buildup of certain drugs can cause blood pressure to drop too fast, or blood to thin too much, leading to internal bleeding or, ironically, clots, depending on the imbalance. I once treated Mr. Elmer Bryant, a 79-year-old retiree who enjoyed his daily glass of orange juice with breakfast. What he didn't know was that his orange juice was amplifying his medication, pushing his blood pressure too low and disrupting his circulation. One morning he collapsed. Doctors later confirmed a stroke, likely caused by drug interaction from something as simple as citrus. So what's the safe path forward? If you enjoy oranges, keep portions small and avoid pairing them with medication unless your doctor has given the green light. A better option? Choose clementines or mandarins, which have lower levels of these interfering compounds, but still offer the citrus flavor you love. Now let's move on to a fruit praised for its cleansing properties. Yet it can actually strip your body of critical electrolytes and silently raise stroke risk in seniors. 6. Apples. Surprise sugar trap. Let's take a look at a fruit that feels like the safest choice of all. Apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? But for seniors, especially those dealing with insulin resistance or blood pressure issues, not all apples are created equal. You see, many popular varieties like Fuji Honeycrisp or Gala are bred to be extra sweet. A single Honeycrisp apple can have over 19 grams of sugar, nearly as much as a candy bar. For an aging body, this creates a roller coaster, a sharp blood sugar spike followed by a crash. This up and down stress damages the inner lining of your blood vessels, causing inflammation and microscopic tears. The body responds by trying to patch those tears, often with clots. And clots, as we know, can lead straight to a stroke. Mrs. Louise Hammond, 81, was the picture of health. She avoided desserts and chose what she believed were healthy snacks, like apples. But she loved Honeycrisp apples and ate one every evening. Over time, her blood sugar began creeping higher. Her doctor warned her about insulin resistance, but she didn't think apples could be the problem. Months later, after a dizzy spell and slurred words, she was diagnosed with a stroke. The cause? Chronic sugar overload from fruit she trusted. So here's how to enjoy apples safely. Opt for tart, lower sugar varieties like Granny Smith, which have nearly half the sugar of Honeycrisp. Eat them with a spoonful of almond butter or a few walnuts, which helps slow down sugar absorption. And most importantly, never eat them on an empty stomach, especially at night when your body is least prepared to manage blood sugar swings. In the next part, we'll uncover a fruit that's often blended into healthy smoothies, yet can quietly thicken your blood and reduce oxygen flow to the brain. 7. Cherries, hidden source of salicylates. Now let's look at a fruit that's small, sweet, and often praised for its anti-inflammatory benefits. Cherries. Whether fresh, dried, or juiced, cherries seem like the perfect bedtime snack. But for seniors, especially those on blood thinners, These little fruits can quietly become dangerous. Here's why. Cherries are naturally rich in compounds called salicylates, which are similar in structure and function to aspirin. Salicylates help thin the blood, something that might sound good for heart health. But when combined with blood-thinning medications like warfarin or aspirin itself, this double effect can become too much. The blood may become so thin that it increases the risk of internal bleeding, especially in the brain. Mr. Daniel Rhodes, age 84, enjoyed a handful of cherries every night before bed. He was also taking warfarin after a previous heart issue. Over time, without realizing it, the salicylates from his cherries were compounding the effects of his medication. One night he experienced a sudden, severe headache and lost consciousness. At the hospital, doctors confirmed a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding in the brain, caused by overly thin blood. If you're on blood thinners, cherries are not off limits, but you must be cautious. Enjoy them only in small amounts, and avoid cherry juice, dried cherries, or concentrates, which have much higher levels of salicylates. And always consult your doctor before adding them to your regular diet. Even a natural food can become risky when mixed with certain medications. Next, we'll uncover a fruit that may surprise you. It's often recommended for digestive health, yet it can spike blood sugar and even worsen blood pressure instability in older adults. 8. Strawberries. Mold, pesticides, and gout triggers. Strawberries, sweet, vibrant, and packed with vitamin C, are a classic symbol of good health. They top breakfast bowls, decorate desserts, and show up in heart-healthy recipes. But beneath that red, juicy surface lies a danger many seniors never suspect. Strawberries are one of the most heavily sprayed fruits, often carrying high levels of pesticide residue. For younger people, the body may detox these chemicals efficiently, but for older adults, especially those with weakened liver or kidney function, these toxins can accumulate over time. Pesticides have been linked to neurodegeneration, damaging brain cells, and to weakening the delicate lining of blood vessels, making them more prone to rupture or clot. That's not all. Strawberries also contain purines, which break down into uric acid in the body. For seniors already dealing with gout, kidney issues, or poor circulation, this can trigger widespread inflammation and increase the risk of clot formation. Mrs. Elaine Carter, 80, was an active grandmother who ate strawberries daily, usually in smoothies or as a snack. Over time, her uric acid levels rose, causing joint pain and pressure spikes. One morning, after feeling dizzy and confused, she was rushed to the hospital, diagnosed with a stroke linked to uric acid buildup and chronic pesticide exposure from non-organic strawberries. And so what's the safer choice? If you love strawberries, choose organic only, and always wash them thoroughly. Keep portions moderate, and if you have a history of gout, kidney disease, or high uric acid, it may be best to skip them or talk to your doctor before including them in your regular diet. Up next, we'll break down one last fruit, often seen as a gut-friendly option, but its high sugar and acidity may quietly weaken the brain's blood vessels over time. 9. Mango. Blood sugar spikes and medication interference. Now let's talk about a fruit many consider a tropical treat, mango. It's sweet, smooth, and feels like sunshine in every bite. But for seniors, especially those on heart or blood pressure medications, mango may do more harm than good. Here's why. Just 1 cup of mango contains up to 45 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of soda. When this sugar enters the bloodstream, it causes a rapid blood sugar spike, which puts intense pressure on blood vessels. Over time, these spikes contribute to inflammation, tiny vessel damage, and eventually clot formation, a dangerous setup for stroke. But the risk doesn't end with sugar. Mango also contains a compound called mangaferrin, which can interfere with how your liver metabolizes medications, especially those used to treat heart conditions or high blood pressure. If the liver can't break down these drugs properly, they can build up in the bloodstream, leading to side effects or even toxic levels. Mr. William Booker, 83, loved dried mango. He ate a few slices every night, thinking it was a healthier alternative to dessert. What he didn't realize was that dried mango is even more concentrated in sugar, and the mandiferin was disrupting his medication's breakdown. One morning, he collapsed while getting out of bed. After testing, doctors confirmed a stroke, likely linked to elevated drug levels and sugar-induced vessel stress. So what can you do? Mango doesn't have to be completely off the table, but keep portions small, eat it earlier in the day, and always pair it with protein or healthy fat, like a few almonds or a slice of avocado. Most importantly, talk to your doctor if you're on medications, especially for the heart, before making mango a regular part of your diet. Now that you've learned the truth about these 9 fruits, let's pull everything together in a powerful conclusion that could help protect your brain and possibly save your life. Getting older doesn't mean giving up the foods you love, but it does mean your body handles them differently. Fruits that once seemed harmless, like bananas, grapes, and mangoes, can quietly raise your stroke risk if eaten the wrong way or at the wrong time. That's not your fault. It's simply how aging changes your kidneys, liver, blood flow, and how you respond to medication. But here's the hopeful part. You have the power to protect your brain. By choosing fruits that are lower in sugar, like Granny Smith apples, berries, avocados, or even a slice of lemon, and pairing them with protein or healthy fats, you can support your brain, not stress it. Eat fruit earlier in the day, never before bed, and always check how it interacts with your medication. The truth is, small changes can protect your memory, your balance, and your independence. And that's worth everything. So I invite you to do just one thing. Think about which fruit habit you'll change starting today, and share it in the comments to inspire others. You never know whose life you might help. Your brain is listening. Feed it wisely. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more science-based, heart-led health guidance just like this. And watch the next video we've linked below. It could be the next step toward a stronger, sharper you. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, and take care of your beautiful mind.